Imagine this. You are 23 years old. You have spent 19 years of your life chasing one single dream. You have won world championships in every junior category. You have beaten the most dominant driver of all time on pure pace this year. You are tied on points with him right now. And then your own team sits you down and says, your dream is over. Give it to your teammate. What do? Do you smile, nod, and pull over? Or do you look them dead in the eye and say no? On Thursday night in Qatar, Oscar Jack Piastri chose the second option, and in doing so, he didn't just refuse team orders, he detonated the biggest civil war in modern Formula One history. This is the full, uncut, emotional, no-holds-barred story of how one quiet Australian kid risked everything, his team, his friendship, maybe even the world championship itself, because he was not ready to kill the only dream he ever had. 2 races left, 59 points on the table, 3 men who can still be champion, and 1 sentence that changed everything forever. The answer is no. Let's go. Here are the numbers that are keeping every McLaren engineer awake at night. After the Las Vegas disaster, Lando Norris sits on 395 points, Oscar Piastri is 371. Max Verstappen is exactly 371, 24 points. That's the gap from first to second and third. 2 race weekends remain. Qatar is a sprint weekend, 8 points for the sprint win, 25 for the Grand Prix, 1 for fastest lap. Maximum 30 for points. Abu Dhabi gives another 25 plus 1, another 26 points. Total still available, 60 points if you sweep absolutely everything including fastest laps. Now do the darkest math in the paddock right now. If Oscar Piastri wins literally everything for the next 10 days, every sprint, every pole, every Grand Prix, every fastest lap, and Lando Norris finishes second in every single one of them without taking a single fastest lap, Oscar becomes world champion. By 1 point, 1 single point. That is not fan fiction. That is cold, hard FIA mathematics. And Oscar Piastri knows the calculator better than anyone. 2 weeks ago, everything was simple. Lando was 60 points clear of Max, 30 clear of Oscar. Team orders were already being whispered. Everyone assumed Oscar would accept them like a good teammate. Then came the plank. Less than half a millimeter of wear. Both McLarens disqualified. Lando loses 18 points. Oscar loses 12. Max loses nothing overnight. The championship was reborn in fire. The same disaster that crushed Lando's heart handed Oscar the oxygen his title dream needed to keep breathing. And the quiet kid from Melbourne felt every second of that cruel irony. Who manages Oscar Piastri? Mark Webber, the last Australian to go into the final race with a chance of becoming world champion 2010. The man who lost it by 4 points because he started 5th and got stuck behind a slower car. The man who still wakes up at night thinking about Korea. 2010. Mark Webber has lived every side of this nightmare. He has been the leader who needed his teammate to help and didn't get it. He has been the faster driver told to move over for strategy and refused. All season McLaren repeated the same beautiful lie. We don't have a number 1 driver. Both boys are equal, free to race. It sounded perfect when they were locking out front rows and spraying champagne together. It sounded perfect when Lando and Oscar were hugging in Park Firm, and the internet called them the cutest bromance in sport. Now that lie has become a loaded gun, because every single position Oscar gains on Lando from now on is a position Verstappen doesn't have to fight for. If Oscar beats Lando by 1 place in Qatar, that's up to 8 points gifted to Max. 8 points at this stage is a death sentence for a world championship. Put yourself in Oscar's race suit for 30 seconds. You have won 7 Grand Prix this year. 7, the same as your teammate. You have outqualified him. You have outraced him on pure pace. You are 23, and the entire country of Australia is staying up until 4 a.m. believing you can. And a 45-year drought, and then your team principal looks you in the eye and says, Oscar, we need you to let Lando pass from now on. Your chance is gone. That is not a strategy discussion. That is someone reaching into your chest and trying to pull your heart out while it's still beating. Because being world champion is not a trophy. It is the answer to the question you have asked yourself every single day since you were 4 years old in a kart. Am I the fastest in the world? To be told no, you're not even the fastest in your own garage before you've had your real shot. That is a pain no amount of money can ever fix. 45 years since 1980. Not one Australian has stood on the top step of the world championship podium as champion. Alan Jones was the last. Mark Webber came closest and still carries the scars. Daniel Ricciardo never had the car. Now Oscar Piastri does. Little kids in Melbourne are painting their school bags papaya. Grandparents who watched Alan Jones in 1980 are crying in their living rooms every time Oscar wins. An entire continent is holding its breath if he moves over now. It's not just his dream that dies, it's theirs. And then there's Lando Norris, 6 years of loyalty to McLaren, 6 years of dragging a midfield car to podiums through pure talent, 6 years of smiling when people said he'd never be champion. This was supposed to be his year. Finally the car, finally the chance, and now the one person who could lock it up for him, his teammate, his friend, is refusing to do it. Lando has never said a bad word about Oscar in public, not once. After Las Vegas, he put his arm around him and said, "We're in this together, mate." That is real friendship. But friendship and world championships are paid in different currencies. And right now, Lando is watching the dream he has chased since he was 6 years old slip away. Because the one person who can save it, one single quotes T. Welcome to Losail, a track McLaren should destroy. Fast, flowing corners, smooth surface, perfect for the MCL39. If they lock out the front row again, and they probably will, the very first lap of the sprint will ask the question no one wants to answer. If Oscar is ahead after turn 1, does he stay there? If he does, he wins the sprint, takes 8 points off Lando, and the title slips closer to Max. If he lifts off and lets Lando past, he kills his own dream on live television in front of 30 million people. Either way, Saturday night in Qatar, someone's heart breaks forever. So, here's the question the entire world is screaming right now. Is Oscar selfish? Or is he right? Here's my answer. And I will say it with my whole chest. Oscar Piastri is 100% right. Not because the math says he can win, although it does. Not because McLaren promised equal treatment, although they did. But because every single world champion in history had one thing in common: they refused to pull over when someone asked them to give up their dream. Lewis Hamilton ignored team orders as a rookie in 2007. Sebastian Vettel ignored multi-21. In 2013, Michael Schumacher never moved over for anyone. Max Verstappen would burn the rulebook before he let anyone pass to win a title. You do not become champion by agreeing to be number 2. You become champion by believing, even when the whole world calls you crazy, that you are number 1. If Oscar moves over now, he will spend the rest of his life wondering, what if I had just fought some more races? If Lando is truly the better driver, he will beat Oscar on track anyway. So let them race. Let them tear each other apart if they have to. Because the man who lifts that trophy in Abu Dhabi will know, beyond any shadow of doubt, that he earned it. Years from now, when we tell the story of 2025, we won't remember who was asked to move over. We will remember who refused to give up to races. One dream still breathing, one young man who stared down 45 years of Australian heartbreak, looked at the team that raised him, looked at his best friend in the other car, and said with the calmest voice you will ever hear, "Not yet." Whatever happens in Qatar and Abu Dhabi, we are about to witness history. Someone's dream will live, someone's dream will die, but one thing is already immortal. On a Thursday night under the desert floodlights, a 23-year-old kid reminded the entire world what Formula 1 is really about. It's not about being sensible. It's about being unstoppable. Tell me right now in the comments, are you Team Oscar or Team Lando? Should he fight until the last corner of the last lap? Or should he pull over and hand his dream away? Drop your answer below, because this story isn't over. It's just getting started. See you after the checkered flag. And Oscar, whatever happens, thank you for reminding us why we fell in love with this sport in the first place.